This is a sample of the information provided as part of the flexible training resources available through hasup.com. Our training courses are designed to provide training participants with an understanding of food safety and quality system elements and also offer user-friendly assessment activities and competency checklists to complete the training cycle. Visitor and contractor management. Key definitions for visitor and contractor management. Contractor, a procured service or product provider within a food business premises. Visitor, an invited, expected, welcomed or accommodated visitor to a food business premises. Visitor and contractor management development. When considering the development, documentation and implementation of visitor and contractor management within food safety and quality management systems, the following information should be considered to ensure effective outcomes. About visitor and contractor management. Visitor and contractor training. Who may want to contaminate foods? Induction training. About visitor and contractor management. It is paramount to food safety that visitors and contractors behave and conform appropriately when visiting any food business. Any visitors and contractors on the premises and their actions are the responsibility of the food business management. Visitors and contractors entering a food manufacturing, processing or handling area should, where appropriate, wear protective clothing and adhere to the other personal hygiene provisions in this section. A policy to this effect should be documented, and a copy provided to each contractor and visitor prior to entry the site. It is generally considered standard practice for visitors and contractors to be signed into a food business and identified by an appropriate badge. Visitors may also be required to review documented materials relating to the food safety and workplace health and safety before admission to critical areas of operation. Depending on the purpose of the visit, visitors, contractors and internal staff not attired appropriately may be required to wear a hygienic outer covering such as a fresh lab coat or full uniform while visiting food production areas. Visitors and contractors should be accompanied by an authorized staff member at all times unless they have conducted appropriate induction training and have passed established medical and security screening protocol. As elements of established site security protocols, employees of the business should be encouraged through specified training to challenge anyone seen within operational areas of the site if they are not appropriately identified or accompanied by an authorized person. Visitor and contractor training. For higher risk or larger food businesses, it is common for a visitor and contractor induction process to be developed, documented and implemented to ensure the ongoing compliance of visitors and contractors to the food business. This is particularly important where, for example, maintenance contractors are used long-term and are permitted to work unaccompanied within operational areas of the food business. In this context, it is important to consider that visitors and contractors, though they are expected to comply with the standard policies and procedures, may not totally appreciate their legal responsibilities in meeting such requirements. In instances where, for example, maintenance contractors are used long-term, it is also common for reinductions to be scheduled, conducted and recorded to ensure ongoing compliance with the nominated visitor and contractor requirements. It is also common for labor hire companies to conduct relevant training and induction processes on behalf of the company to which they will provide temporary staff. In this case, it is important that a food business using labor supplied through a company responsible for relevant and induction training to verify the outcomes of such activities. This is commonly considered as an element of the approved supplier of service provider programs for labor hire company service providers. Who may want to contaminate foods? When evaluating the potential food security exposure of any food business, the senior management should consider a large variety of people who may potentially execute an attack from both inside and outside the business operation. Potential attacks may include both opportunistic attacks by single individuals and planned attacks by organized groups. The following listing provides some examples of people who may be motivated to adulterate food products from both internal and external sources. Internal sources. Disgruntled employee. Visitors or contractors. Temporary or casual employees. Members of organized groups posing as employees. External sources. Organized groups. transport drivers, visitors or contractors, raw material suppliers. Additional threats are often identified through internal sources, as perpetrators often have access to food business procedures and protocols that may make their goals more readily achievable. Food businesses should liaise with relevant regulatory authorities regarding potential local threats to their operation. About training, competency and resources requirements. Procedures and schedules for training, competency and resources requirements must be developed, documented and implemented to ensure personnel, visitors and contractors have the skills and knowledge necessary to maintain required food safety, food quality and regulatory standards. Training, competency and resources requirements must be reviewed and verified on an ongoing basis to ensure ongoing positive outcomes. Personnel engaged in food operations that come directly or indirectly into contact with food should be trained or instructed in food hygiene to a level appropriate to the operations they are to perform. Training is fundamentally important to any food hygiene system. Inadequate hygiene training and/or instruction and supervision of all people involved in food-related activities pose a potential threat to the safety of food and its suitability for consumption. All personnel should be aware of their role and responsibility in protecting food from contamination or deterioration. Food handlers should have the necessary knowledge and skills to enable them to handle food hygienically. Those who handle strong cleaning chemicals or other potentially hazardous chemicals should be instructed in safe handling techniques. The nomination of training as a component of a food safety program is to assess the skills and knowledge of participating personnel roles in food safety activities. It is not generally the intention of this inclusion to require mandatory training, as it is generally recognized that skills and knowledge may be gained in different ways. Depending on the location and type of business activities, you may be required to display details of officially recognized training pertaining to specified roles within the food safety program. Persons managing or participating in food handling and/or processing operations must possess skills and knowledge in relation to the scope of their workplace activities. The skill and knowledge requirements for each staff member should correspond directly with the scope of work activities. The skills and knowledge required by a chef are different to those required by a cleaner. Skill and knowledge-based training may be considered in numerous forms, and it must involve food hygiene as well as general food safety concepts. Food handlers involved in any stage of food production should receive sufficient training in the hygienic food handling practices and in personal hygiene. Some of the most successful approaches to obtaining task-related skill and knowledge include workplace training facilitated with your business practices. An example: dissemination of relevant documentation and information to key personnel. Using standard operating procedures that outline the scope and purpose of personnel roles in the food safety program. Attendance of food safety courses conducted by food safety professionals, industry associations or government bodies. Utilizing a qualified and experienced food safety consultant to recommend inclusions to the skill and knowledge base of your employees. Food safety training under a recognized framework facilitated by a registered training organization or regulatory body. And competency review of food handling skills and knowledge. It is the responsibility of management to ensure that all employees are fully aware of food safety and food hygiene practices that are important to their job in the food business. Induction training. All staff involved with the handling of food must be trained to recognize and practice good manufacturing practices and safe working procedures at all times. It is generally considered best practice to ensure all new employees complete relevant induction training before actually starting within their new position. As a base level requirement, food and personal hygiene training should be addressed for all relevant staff during the induction process. Supervisory staff may be required to undertake specific and more comprehensive food safety training in the related areas. Induction training commonly includes the following subjects: general food business induction, food hygiene and handling, storage, handling and refrigeration, food poisoning and foodborne illness including cause and effect examples, food processing procedures, food preservation methods. Training, competency and resources requirements. Quality policy. CCP monitoring and completion of records, personal hygiene, basic HACCP, GMP, and other industry sector-specific requirements. It is also important to consider that visitors and contractors may also require induction training commensurate with their interactions within any food business. If your food business supplies foodstuffs manufactured to a customer's specifications, it is important to consider any specific visitor and contractor management development requirements in relation to their items. Document. A document provides guidance and/or direction for performing work, making decisions, or rendering judgments which affect the safety or quality of the products or services that customers receive. Documented policies, procedures, work instructions and schedules form the basis of any food safety and quality management system. The following documentation formats may be considered to ensure ongoing compliance with specified requirements for visitor and contractor management. Visitor and Contractor Management Policy, Visitor and Contractor Management Development Procedures, Visitor and Contractor Management Implementation Procedures and Work Instructions, Visitor and Contractor Management Monitoring Procedures, Visitor and Contractor Management Corrective and Preventative Action Procedures. Did you know that HACCP.com includes resources that allow you to create, manage and implement GFSI and HACCP-based food safety and quality programs? Improve your food safety and quality skills and knowledge? Train and develop your team to create better food safety and quality outcomes? Find suppliers and service providers to partner with your business? The information and training resources available through HACCP.com include a variety of formats, such as website content, MP4, MP4 and text, MP3, PDF and slideshow. Are you ready to take the next step in your food compliance journey? Visit HACCP.com today to create your profile and access the full versions of our food safety and quality information packages and much more.